This podcast is rated S for spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. Don't forget to view our spoiler-free companion video on our Half Past Podcast channel on YouTube. Half Past Podcast. This is episode 48, the movie review of Jason Bourne. We will also be discussing the Ben Hur trailer. I'm Graham Ricks, and here with me is my friend and co-pilot, Ian Jones.
Hey, buddy, I gotta start off by complaining about something, and this is a fear I have about all movie theaters.
Okay.
About something that I'm terrified is going to happen in every movie theater. And so I've been going to AMC because of their Stubs reward program.
Yeah?
Now, I would rather be going and supporting Dan Harkins.
Yes, because
right?
it would be nice to get him as a sponsor.
Okay. Now, here's the thing that they just started, and this is such a terrible idea. What they've done is not only do they have the rewards program with the card, which gives you like $5 back for, I think, every 100 you spend or something.
Yeah.
Like that. But they have this thing called the Premier Stubs program, which allows you to cut through the concession lines. So they have these...
Are you shitting me?
No, I'm not. I couldn't believe it. They have all these stanchions set up. And everyone's just looking around at these stanchions like, what is going on? And,
that's crazy.
So I get up there and I asked the guy, I was just like, well, what's this all about? And he's like, well, that right there is for our premier rewards. And so if someone was in that line, I would take them first. And I looked right at him. And I was like, this is the worst idea ever. This is absolutely terrible. And he's like, well, it's a nationwide thing with AMC right now. It's just like, for $5 for a small soda and $5 for a candy. Oh man, would I be pissed off if someone else was like cutting the line in front of me? Well, I'm gonna go and drop all this money for my family on concessions. and I'm telling you right now, I would be at Harkins if it wasn't so far from where I am.
Yeah, right.
But I am thinking about just going there anyway and just wasting the gasoline just to prove a point. And I feel like this is going to irritate a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. I can't see that going down easily at all.
And the concessions inside there, the stanchions that they have set up make it an absolute mess. Oh, I mean, it just makes it a confusing mess that you like have an issue getting around when there are hordes of people exiting theaters.
Jesus.
And so it's like Fast Pass or whatever at Disneyland, and I'm concerned that this idea is going to take off. But I feel like, you know what? I'm just going to start bringing in a purse. Like, to hell with it. Who am I trying to impress by going in there? I'm just going to start going in with a man bag, and I'm not going to patronize them with my soda request or the occasional candy or whatever. I mean, who cares if I'm walking around with a purse, God, I'm just like, it just absolutely blew me away.
That's so crazy.
And I totally got on the kid's case about it too. But I mean, he's just a teenager, and I could have walked over to a manager like, this is stupid. This is a really bad idea. So I don't know. We'll see. But I am concerned that this is going to catch fire with Cinemark and maybe with Harkins.
That's going to be interesting whether they're going to do that or not. Because the problem is that sounds like that's something that like people like us who go to the movies all the time could probably benefit from.
Correct. Yeah.
But the thing is most people don't go to nearly as many movies as we do. So like I feel like that's just it's like the population would just be so pissed.
I know the general
audience would be so pissed.
Exactly. Blows me away. This is just terrible.
I can't believe that that's even a thing. That's so crazy. Oh my God.
Cut the line at concessions. Wow. This is just not. That's where they make all their money. I think that's stupid.
It is.
That is really
that's
stupid.
A terrible decision.
Anyway, it's just if I had a pen right there, I would have scribbled it on my hand to remember to talk about it today.
Oh, that sounds awful. Well, that's a good little intro to the podcast. All right, so let's talk about this Ben Hur thing that's happening right now. So I'm sure you've seen this trailer come up a few times. I didn't get it with Jason Bourne, but I have seen the trailer show up in other movies I've seen. But the thing that's like, I'm really shocked that this movie is even being made. This is one of those movies where I feel like it's like a classic movie that probably should be, no man's land kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like trying to remake something from like the Criterion Collection type stuff. It just seems very strange that they would try to redo this one.
And, like when you're in film school, you're taught about framing and achieving that Ben Hur aspect ratio.
Yes.
I think the issue is, and really set aside the fact that remaking a classic is a stupid idea.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that they're coming up on like the 75-year period of copyrights, so that they have to remake it. And I remember when George Lucas said there was going to be no more Star Wars. Well, technically within our lifetime, maybe not within our lifetime, someone could have remade Star Wars because of the way that the copyright laws
the copyright laws are.
So if he hadn't sold it, they would have had, so that they could make more movies, they would have had some issues down the road. Someone else could have taken over the property.
That is a very interesting point, that they would almost remake it for the reason of keeping the rights to the original.
I think that is what's going on here. I'm fairly certain that's what's going on here. The movie itself, the trailer itself, looks like garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
It looks like a second-rate Troy or, a Gladiator or something like that.
Yeah, right. It doesn't look like it's anywhere near as close to the quality. The only positive thing I can even say about it is that they're definitely, the chariot races are definitely a huge part of it, which is kind of, the thing about Ben Hur. So I guess they're at least trying to keep that going with it. But other than that, I'm just kind of like, I don't even know why it's being made. That's so weird. I'm not sure how the copyright laws work. I was under the impression that you could just renew it.
I don't. Well, yeah, I would think that that's the case. But, I mean, we studied that. And
yeah.
I was surprised to find out that it was only like 75 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. And then the rights you can basically take over at that point in time. Hence why there's certain things that like certain companies have movies that are, well, not just movies, but just like the other stuff that's made, the stories that were written, hundreds of years ago. It's free game kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, or fair game would be the proper way to say that. But I don't know, man. I feel definitely kind of strange about it, and I'm hoping it's okay, I guess. But it's just, I don't know. It definitely makes me feel uncomfortable. I mean, it's like, what would happen if a company decided to remake Citizen Kane? Like, that would just, like, You know what I mean? Like, that would piss all, like, filmmakers off if that was to happen. It's just...
Right, and, you know, you bring up a good point. Is anything really off the table at that point?
Right? I mean, we both have our opinions on Citizen Kane. Like, both of us are just, you know, it's not the greatest movie, which saying that on the podcast in public...
well, yeah. I do not. It's a big deal, and...
It's the thing is the reason why it's a big deal is because it was the first time this is like kind of where filmmaking became like an actual art form in Citizen Kane.
Okay.
And so we understand the importance.
I offer my concession, but damn, is it just a grind to watch?
It really is kind of a grind to watch, but it's something that everybody looks towards because it is like the birth of filmmaking. And so it's kind of a weird thing with Citizen Kane, but it kind of is what it is. It's kind of like, you know, how I'm just going to piss off a lot of people. You know, it's kind of like 2001 A Space Odyssey. Like,
yeah.
like, I understand its importance. But
oh, I can't wipe this smirk off my face. I'm looking at myself in the camera right now. I agree with everything you're about to say. I think we've never talked about that one specifically.
No,
but yeah, trying to get through it is.
It's rough, but I understand its importance and why it should be around. But it's just.
I mean, there's a reason why we review fun movies on this podcast.
Yes,
and that's because we cannot handle that stuff. You know, it's...
Oh, man.
Movies should not be a grind to get through, even though that is what gets some Academy Awards. Make them unwatchable.
Of Academy Awards.
Make them unwatchable so that no one goes and sees them except for the people voting, or throw Meryl Streep in there, and then also make them unwatchable.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, I think we've bashed enough. We're supposed to be just
classic movies.
Yes, we were supposed to just talk about Ben Hur, but I guess I can see how it would organically got to that point. But let's go ahead and take a break, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into this Jason Bourne movie. After Jason Bourne walked away from the agency that trained him to become a deadly weapon, CIA Director Robert Dewey assigns hacker and counterinsurgency expert Heather Lee to find him. Wow.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Worst read yet.
Yeah, that was bad.
I don't want to read it, so let's just move forward. We get it. He's a spy. He's back. Jason Bourne's back.
Jason Bourne's back. And
CIA's not happy about it.
That's all right, essentially the synopsis.
Let's do it.
This movie's directed by...
Movie done. Movie done. CIA's not happy about it.
Nice. This movie's directed by Paul Greengrass, who has also done United 93, Green Zone, which was the movie that he worked with Matt Damon with instead of doing another Bourne movie. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes, and the industry rumor was that they allowed both of them, to work on that movie to try to lure them back for this one. Yes. And it didn't work out a few years ago.
Yeah.
So they went a different direction.
Yep, and they went with Bourne Legacy. He also did the Captain Phillips movie. So he tends to do those types of movies, it seems like. So he's starring, of course, Matt Damon as Jason Bourne. He's known for Good Will Hunting, The Departed, and also The Adjustment Bureau. You remember The Adjustment Bureau?
Oh, yeah. interesting
nice
idea.
Movie,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was like an interesting idea for a movie. Not a lot of people. I don't think that was very successful in the box office, was it?
No, it wasn't. But I like the idea behind it was really creative.
Yeah, it was. Tommy Lee Jones is Robert Dewey. He was in The Fugitive and, of course, Batman Forever, that fun movie, and Men in Black.
Men in Black is just so much fun. Like I feel like that's what you and I should just do every Halloween.
It's such a fun freaking movie, man.
I'm Mr. White, and this is my associate, Mr. Black.
Oh, it's fantastic. Man, that movie was so... It was such a surprise when that movie came out and how good it was. It's just great. It's amazing how that worked out. Alicia Vikander as Heather Lee. She was an Ex Machina, and she was also the woman in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which people need to see. The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's a fun one.
It did terrible. It bombed in the box office, and it really shouldn't have. It was actually a really well done little movie. So it's really upsetting that it just like nobody went to go see it at all, and it's a shame.
So she's got the best accent ever in this movie. Like, can I just throw that out there? That's totally one of my likes. But like, seriously, if she just read the phone book, I think I would buy whatever it cost to get that. like I just love the accent she does in this movie, which she does. Which now that I think about it, I guess it's got to be her performance, because I don't recall that in the last movie in Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Well, the thing is she's actually Swedish, so
she can't have that accent, right? She can't have that.
Well, to me, I think that is her accent.
Oh, okay.
I think that is her accent, and then when she did Man from U.N.C.L.E., that was like her American or whatever.
All right, I'm gonna have to look up some interviews. After this, which is not going to be a hardship.
Definitely look at it. I'm pretty sure this is how she is. This is her accent, but she might have put a little twist on it, but she definitely has an accent because she's Swedish. Vincent Cassel as the Asset, who doesn't even have a name through this movie. I'm not sure how exactly that happened. Because, I don't think they say his name at all. They just keep saying the Asset.
Why is it always just the one dude?
Why don't they have several people trying to take him out? Yeah, it makes more sense, right?
And they did in the first movie, which I thought was kind of interesting, but they were all working separately.
Yes. You'd think that they'd be able to take him down if you had several of them working together. Yeah, right? He was in The Messenger, The Story of Joan of Arc, Ocean's 12, and, of course, Black Swan. Julia Stiles as Nicolette Nikki Parsons. She was in 10 Things I Hate About You, Save the Last Dance, and Silver Linings Playbook. She's
definitely the fan favorite, or I should say was the fan favorite of...
Spoilers!
Yeah. Was. If you're a character in a Bourne movie, you're going to die at some point. So it's just a matter of when.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And sometimes it's just because the guy you don't know comes up and shoots you in the back of the head. So it's not like some elaborate thing. It's just like, nope, caught you in an alley. Bam.
Caught you in an alley, bam. Which happens. It's so ridiculous, but that freaking happens. The last character I have on here is Riz Ahmed as Aaron Kalour. He's an English rapper, which that's fun. Nightcrawler was in the movie, and of course he's going to co-star in the Rogue One movie that's coming out.
Okay.
Is there anything else? I think that's the last three characters. Let's take another little break here, and then we'll get into the quirks and likes. All right, Charles, we're back here. Let's go ahead and get into our quirks and likes. The first thing I want to say is, and this happens a lot with these types of movies, is the amount of times that I see the flashback of like his father. How many times does that happen? Like the exact same flashback. It happens like 6 or 7 times, I feel like. And like, why do they have it so often in this movie?
Well, not only that, they flash back to the other movies too.
Yes, they do. So there's just a ton of that in this movie.
Yeah, I guess there's... And what's weird is that's seemingly the only thing he holds on to from his past. Like, there isn't much of a childhood there.
No.
I mean, you never see him as a child. He's always a grown-up. So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That kind of happens in all the other movies, too. And if he remembers everything, why is he struggling with this part still?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not really explained. So it's just one of the things that I've noticed is the use of flashbacks seems just kind of crazy and excessive, and I think a part of the problem with that, with them showing clips from the other movies, is because it was so long between movies. I mean, when did the first Bourne Identity come out? That was like
I think 2000-ish,
2004 or like was it early 2000s when that movie came out?
Let me see.
Like I feel like it was a long time ago. Like it had to have been either early to mid 2000s, I guess.
Oh,
but I'm thinking it had to be early
2002.
2002.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then there's it's been almost 10 years since the Bourne Ultimatum. So it's just kind of like I feel like that has a lot to do with the issues with this movie, is with those flashbacks.
I mean, isn't it? I would argue it should be to the point now where you could have a Bourne movie and not have to connect all the dots back to Treadstone.
Yeah, right? Do you need to?
Exactly. If he's going to become an evergreen character, and he's entertaining enough, the movies are entertaining enough to where you could eventually recast and sort of do like a James Bond type of thing with this guy without having to do reboots.
Yeah.
Like it would be a big deal to be the next Jason Bourne, and you figure he can't do that forever. So I guess I wonder why everything does have to keep coming back to a single point, and when can he come back in, or when can he do his own things, which is kind of what the movie touches on a little bit.
Yeah, it does. But the thing that's like, even the thing that I don't understand is I think that the agency and how it is with all these assets, I thought it was a very good thing that they did a movie like The Bourne Legacy where it's not necessarily linked to the other ones. Like, to me, it seems like that makes more sense, that you could just do other movies with these different assets or whatever. So it just seems like that you wouldn't even need, like you would never need. They've already done a movie where they didn't really connect it that much. So it's just kind of weird that they were trying to keep going back to it. So it's just something that I've noticed. Here's a problem that I have with these types of like action movies. And there is, like, towards the end of the movie, they have this really long car chase scene, right?
Yeah.
And he wrecks the hell out of that Charger. And you know how I feel about how there's absolutely no damage to him.
No, yeah, right.
At all. And the thing that bothers, I'm okay with that because action movies do that, and that's just a complaint I just have overall with action movies. But he looks worse after fighting that other guy than crashing the hell out of that car. And I'm just like, why is so much damage like now, as opposed to like he should just be like in so much pain and just like torn up. I don't know. You've been in a wreck before, right?
Yeah.
Like there's times where you just like, You can get into a fender bender, and you're just like, my spine.
And you don't want to do anything.
You don't want to do anything. So it's just kind of like such a weird thing. I don't get it.
Yeah, especially considering that the car, the Challenger, at the end gets thrown into a marquee and then drops straight down.
Yes.
And I mean, that's probably one of the worst car crashes I've ever seen. Well, with the exception of the one that Tom Cruise has in that one Mission Impossible where he intentionally drops the car. Yeah. It's just like, oh, geez. Like, I mean, that's worse. But, I mean, but looking at the one that Jason Bourne has, like, how does he not get decapitated? It's that crazy. Yeah, the way that it comes to an end.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And so that's just one of the things that just bothered the hell out of it. It bothered me more than usual because I'm used to seeing that kind of stuff anyway in action movies. And this is common amongst, like, American action movies because some of the other countries, when they do an action movie, especially, like, if you ever watch a Korean movie, like action movie, they beat the hell out of their main stars. They always look like crap by the end of the movie, which is why it's such a cool little thing because it's so realistic. Like they're just like speed up so bad by the end of the movies in those. So it's kind of like I wish we had seen more of that in America. I'm not entirely sure if this is like a major problem with me, but I really feel like there is a lot of car chase scenes in this movie, and they are very long. So, as much as I like a car chase scene as much as the next guy, but it's like there's two of them, and they're really long. Like, how long do you think those shots were?
Yeah, well, I think the main issue is that there's two of them.
Yeah, right? There's two of them.
Instead of just maybe one,
I could see that. I can see that if there was just one, I'd be less upset about it.
I mean, I will have to say, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like what they did on the Vegas Strip towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that
before. I could have watched that ending, I think, a couple of times. Like, that's totally worth seeing.
The thing is...
in a movie theater.
The thing is you're not wrong because I did enjoy the end scene, but I feel like the one with the motorcycle when he's on with Julia Stiles, I really don't feel like that sequence should have been as long as it was.
The issue that I had with that one, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, is because while I was watching it, and everyone knew what was coming, she's going to get shot. It's already been done in this series. The exact same thing happens. So why not just go into a building? I mean, I get that, okay, well, she's going to die. Now, Marie died the same way. He was in a Jeep running away from a sniper. It's the same thing happening all over again, but it's like he doesn't learn from his mistakes. Yeah. And the other issue I have is it is just not that easy to hit a moving target like that, especially someone on a motorcycle when it's at night.
With smoke and flames all around.
And
a riot going on.
And a riot going on because, man, those Greeks know how to riot.
Oh, yeah.
They've learned from the French hundreds of years ago and then put their own spin on things, man.
That's fantastic. It's funny that we're getting into this because the thing is like, I was like having conversations with people leading up to this movie because the way the trailer is done, Julia Stiles, the only footage they have of her in the trailer is in this scene. So during the trailer, I'm like, she's not in the movie that much at all. Like, I instantly knew that because of the lack of footage they had of her in the trailer. And then later on, I was trying to figure out what could possibly happen, and the natural progression of that is that she's gonna die in the movie. So I knew, like, before I even walked into the movie theater that she was dead. Like, I already knew, just because of the lack of footage in the trailer of her.
I mean, yeah, and I would say if you're a betting man anyway, it's a pretty good bet.
Right? Yeah.
Certainly being a black guy in a Jason Bourne movie is never a good thing.
Well, yeah. But that's kind of like all movies, though, right?
Right, that is one of our things. The black guy always dies.
It's funny that you bring up one of our freaking 10 things in a movie that needs to stop. Now, yeah. See it on YouTube if you want to watch it. But
on YouTube.
I'll bring this back up later because there's something else that happens in this movie that's one of my likes that falls along the lines of that.
Okay.
But here's my last quirk. The last quirk I have is there is a lot of stuff that I feel like that was in the trailer that is simply not in the movie.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know in particular what line you're talking about.
Right? Because
yes.
You know I've talked to you about this before, how much I loved how guy produced that line.
Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne.
Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. I mean, like, it sounds like bad acting, but it's a quiet panic about it that I love about it.
Because he's like peeing himself when he says it. But I mean, that's like such a trailer moment. Like, you wouldn't say that, and that's kind of the issue
you wouldn't.
I have, and like, just a little petty thing. There were so many times when someone would say something which is totally for the audience, that you wouldn't need to say on an operation. Like this kept happening. Someone would say, if you see Jason Bourne, shoot him. Like, duh. Right? If you see Jason Bourne, grab him. Yeah. What? Really? Like, why does that need to be... at this juncture, after everything that's happened, after films of this, if you see Jason Bourne, put a bullet in him. Remember, don't forget that. Let's remind the audience that this is what we're going to do when we see Jason Bourne.
Well,
and it's just like, well, that's what they're there to do anyway.
Yes.
Why would you make sure to say that to your team who's just going to get taken out?
There's a ton of that in this movie to begin with anyway. Like, there's just so many scenes where they keep reiterating things that were already, like, known. Like, why is it being repeated again and again and again? And so it's just such a weird little, like, movie thing that they decided to do with that. But there's also just, like, the car chase scene where Jason Bourne clearly has a shotgun inside the Charger. That scene?
Yeah.
Like that's... He doesn't have a gun.
Well,
so it's like, what's going on with some of this footage? I almost feel like it was purposely filmed for the trailer.
They removed that. Well, yeah, I mean, he stole a cop's Charger.
Right? He definitely stole the cop's.
I don't know that. Yeah, would the shotgun just be sitting there? Usually that stuff's in the trunk. So maybe that's why, he's like he's not pulling a Terminator. Like, maybe they thought that was the point where we jumped the shark. Not that we destroyed all of Las Vegas and none of the cops got a shot on either of these two guys.
Really? Yeah, I know. It's such a crazy thing. But there's a bunch of little scenes like that were in the trailer that's clearly not in the movie. And so it's just kind of a fun thing that I wanted to comment on. All right, that's all mine, man. What do you got?
The first thing was Jason Bourne, like the start of this movie where he's just this underground fighter. Like, I have a problem with this. As much as I love MMA, it
doesn't make any sense. Like, why did they choose that's what he's doing with his time?
I mean, if you're trying to show that he's in a low place, why would he care about anything that happens moving forward? Like he ends up going through an awful lot.
Yeah.
To meet up with Nikki Parsons, and then they end up basically using she and this other hacker, they basically set him up, and it's like the same thing all over again, where they do something and Jason Bourne looks like he's the one behind it, because they drag him into it. And it's like, everyone who does that ends up dead. So, I kind of already saw that happening. Well, I hasn't gone to see this other hacker yet, but that hacker's obviously going to die. And then that hacker tries to take him out. Yes, which I think is just really ballsy. But
which is why that scene was so quick.
Right, yeah. They're fighting inside, sir. What are we going to do? Well, if you see one of them, shoot them. So anyway, the underground fighter thing, I had a hard time buying. I just think that isn't clever enough for
I think it's such a weird choice for them to do that. And it's like, the only thing I can think of is I feel like, the thing is the way they choose to do it. It almost like the way this movie presents itself is it seems like he's gonna reach a tipping point, but they don't really play upon that much. So I can almost see if they actually played into that more into the beginning of the movie to show how far gone he is. I can understand that, well, he's doing this underground fighting thing because he's became excessively reckless and he's getting to that tipping point, which they bring up more than once in the movie, how he's just there, like he's at his tipping point. But the thing is they don't really play upon that at all. It's just said to you in a couple of sequences and that's it. They don't really show his demise into it. Which I feel like might have been a little better.
To sort of put it in your head, maybe.
Yes,
that this might happen.
Yeah, and I think it would have made more sense had they actually shown maybe his demise into that, and at the point that that's how he is at this point where he's like lost his shit. But they don't really go into that. And even if they did, the rest of the movie, he's not really facing that issue. Like, he's very competent in what he's doing, as opposed to it's like they never play upon that fact that he's up to his wit's end. They don't play it into that at all, even though they mention it a bunch of times. So that's all I want to say. Comment on that.
The hacking and the technology in this movie, like with just a few keystrokes, like this is an issue. Like across the board in like TV shows and everything.
There's only one TV show from what I've heard. I've been wanting to watch this show, but apparently Mr. Robot is like really good about this hacking crap. Apparently they're just on point about how you properly show it and like this is how it looks. And they actually have actual hackers that are like consultants in the movie or in the show. So anyway, I just wanted to make that comment.
I mean, in particular, I'm talking about, well, there's a scene with Nikki Parsons and a couple of scenes with Heather Lee where Heather Lee sits down at a computer and she's got a really friendly user interface, I must say. She does. And so let's just say for argument's sake that the NSA has done that and it is that easy.
Yeah.
That could be the case. But I mean, she hits one thing, and it basically filters through all the possible female hackers in Iceland, and then immediately brings up one photo, and it's Nikki Parsons.
Yes.
So I thought that was a little too easy for her to make that connection.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger issue I have, and they kind of skirt over this, is that Nikki is able to hack the NSA from the outside using a dongle, basically, from 1998. And that, to me, doesn't make any sense at all. Like, that's one of those things where I will have a nosebleed over.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't make any... Like, it's not even the same organization. That's not even past 2001.
Yes.
So it's not the same systems. It's just like that's really stupid to me. And say what you will politically or whatever, but
Yeah.
I mean, it needs to be a little bit more clever than that to me.
All right.
So anyway, this had a real similar feel, especially the ending, but like the Bourne movies, I think are kind of stealing from each other. You know, at the end of this movie, he ends up talking alone in a room from someone, with someone from his past.
Yep.
Who's in charge over at the NSA. And it's someone who like has a critical thing that he can't quite remember. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think 3 movies end that way, or maybe all of them do that have Jason Bourne. I don't know, but I guess I wonder why that's always the case. And Tommy Lee Jones ends up just sending his security away because he knows that Jason Bourne is coming for him.
Yep.
And I guess the issue there that I have with that is that his like second in command, the black guy who ends up dying is the one who comes to his aid.
Yes.
And because there's no security there, he's the one who ends up getting shot.
Yes.
And I was just like, God, like, like this was so stupid. Why didn't he keep his security there?
It doesn't make any sense at all. It's so weird that he spends a good portion of the movie explaining to Heather Lee how she doesn't know who she's dealing with. And yet he gets rid of all of his own defenses when he knows Jason Bourne's coming for him.
And gonna kill him, right? I mean, he's gotta know that he's gonna die.
Yeah, right. It doesn't make any sense.
I thought it was a little much. This is the last thing, because then it starts getting nitpicky.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little ridiculous that Jason Bourne took a bullet in his stomach and seemed to take it very well.
Oh, yeah.
But that it was also a little much that the asset killed Jason Bourne's father.
Yes.
I really thought that was really too much. You already set up the fact that the asset was captured and tortured because of the original leak, the Pamela Landy leak.
Yes.
So the asset already has a personal interest in coming after Jason Bourne, and he's made it personal by killing Nikki Parsons.
Yes.
Does that need to be
an extra layer?
An extra connection?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be.
So, all right. I'll concede on my little quirkiness.
All right. All right, let's go ahead and get into the likes here. I don't have a lot of likes, so...
Ooh, okay.
The one that I said I was going to bring up later that you absolutely hate. And there's a scene in this movie that I instantly thought of you when I saw it. And that's when Heather has that van and Jason Bourne breaks the glass and then proceeds to sit on the glass. Here's the thing. There is clear sound effects when he sits down. It shows that the glass is still there when he sits down. And then when he leaves, there's another sound effect to show that the glass is still there when he gets up and leaves. And I wanted to make sure to tell you that Jason Bourne doesn't give a shit about glass. Okay. And I just thought that was such an interesting thing, because it happens in movies a lot where they
it's a big pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
Because glass, when someone breaks into your car,
yes,
by smashing the window out, glass gets everywhere.
Yes.
And I mean everywhere. You cannot sit down on a seat that has broken pieces of glass, even if you have a towel or something. I had it happen to my truck twice, and the second time I was like, F it, I'm just going to go to work anyway. And it just wasn't doable. I had to get rid of everything. I had to find every little piece, and you will find little pieces forever. You will always be finding little pieces. Even if, it's just, even if you go and have someone else to like a car wash or something,
yep,
there will still somehow always end up, years later, there will be a tiny shard that ends up back on your seat somehow. And you sit on it and you're just like, son of a bitch. After all these years. So yeah, that's a huge problem. And it's because they use that breakaway crap and they don't know. But I mean, I know from experience that you can't just do that.
No, you can't. I just wanted to make sure I brought that up because I thought of you instantly. I was like, oh, no way. They actually acknowledge the fact that there's glass inside the cabin.
Jason Bourne does not care about glass. Well, I guess he doesn't care about a gunshot wound to the stomach.
No, he doesn't care about that either.
Which is supposed to be like the worst place or whatever.
Oh, yeah, right.
Pain-wise for you to be shot is in your gut.
Oh, it's terrible. The only other thing I have to say is I really loved the action scenes, especially the final car chase scene. There's a lot of stuff that happens in there that I don't think I've seen before in another movie, and so it was just such a great thing to watch, and it was fun. It had a really good ending and a really good climax, and I thought that was like a huge plus to this movie, and so that's all I have.
And I agree. I love that car chase at the end. I felt like we deserved it. It was really satisfying. And to me, that's the one reason why I'm going to rate this movie where it is, because I don't think it's as clever as Bourne Identity.
No, it's not.
And, I thought the first two were really so well done.
Yeah, Identity and Supremacy were really good. I have not seen Ultimatum yet.
Yeah,
but I definitely saw Identity and Supremacy, and I thought both of those were very good.
The issue I have with Ultimatum is that it isn't really like the third movie because it takes place during Supremacy. It's like Bourne 2.5, and so I felt like we were cheated out of a third movie just because so much of what the characters are reacting to is stuff we've already seen.
Yes.
It's the other side of, it's the other team who's trying to work against Pamela Landy. So, so to me, this was really the third Jason Bourne movie. I really liked the Heather Lee character.
She was pretty good, wasn't she?
And she's an interesting character, especially since she survived. And I'll tell you, I was thinking she was not going to survive at the end there.
Yeah, I didn't think she was either.
But, Tommy Lee Jones, the director, ends up saying something to her about not letting her own ambitions get in the way of her first op. And I mean, she's really green the entire time. And you wonder if she is a good person.
Yes.
But towards the end of the movie, you wonder if this is all just for her career. And I really don't know what the case is at the end of this. And I like that I don't
interesting.
know.
When I left the movie theater, I was talking and I'm like, man, I'm trying to figure out is this really for her career, or is she really still on his side or whatever? You kind of don't know. I'm leaning towards her own interest, which I thought to me makes the character a little more interesting personally. But
so, I'm curious to see if they bring this relationship back somehow.
I don't know.
And so I wouldn't mind seeing another movie, but I think they need to do something different, something else other than going back and rehashing things from the past.
Yep, I agree.
So I think one last thing, and that's the privacy thing that comes up because of the whole, what was that, the Green Gate or something like that?
Deep Dream or Dream
Deep Dream.
Deep Dream. Yeah,
Deep Dream.
Okay.
So there's this fake, the fake app, the fake company that has like 10,000 apps that people use for like social networking and everything. Yeah. I really like that privacy comes up here because so many of us use iTunes and Google and Gmail and Twitter and Pandora.
Yeah.
And it's in there if you see it that they can sell your information in there. And
oh, yes.
And boy, that makes me kind of wonder about Gmail too.
Oh, we as just normal people walking around, these services that we use, we are giving away a shitload of information, and it's just the fact that when you like, the things that nobody reads, like when they approve, it's like that's a part of the terms of the contract, and so like you're giving away a lot of information, and you're doing it legally via a contract by agreeing to use the service. So it's something that definitely is a thing and comes up, and it's kind of an overall aspect to this movie, even though it's not really played on a lot. But the fact that they have access to so much shit, they're just like, well, there's a cell phone in the room, and then they're able to get access to the cell phone and then delete the files, or they're able to use all the cameras to find Julia Stiles' character, Nikki. And it's just like, so there's a lot of stuff like that shows that privacy aspect to the privacy issues that we have, just like that we deal with in real life, and it's brought up in this movie, even though it's not quite in your face. So that's cool. All right, what else you got?
I thought it was really ballsy that they ordered that character's assassination, like that Mark Zuckerberg type character.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Because that, like, if that happened, if that had happened to Steve Jobs when he was alive, or Bill Gates now, that would be Kennedy-esque. Seriously. I mean, it would, people would wonder forever. Not to mention, I don't think they would get away with it because of how sloppy agencies are when it comes to handling those kinds of things. But, I mean, people would wonder forever.
Oh, yeah.
If, it would be a conspiracy theory from now until forever. So I thought that was a really drastic measure. Like, they're seriously going to set up some poor sap to take the fall for this. And it's just, that's how we do things. So anyway, all right, that's it for me, buddy.
All right, so I guess we're going to go ahead and rate it. So I think this movie is, when you look at it from like an action spy thriller type movie, and I push more of the action aspect to it, it's definitely a fun little action-packed movie. But I'm not sure if, because it doesn't have as much of a, to me, importance as Identity or Supremacy to be this direct sequel, it's not quite up to snuff, I feel like, for me. So I'm going to go ahead and say rent it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
especially if you've seen the others. It's kind of a nice little, go ahead and finish off the series if you do. I think it's worth at least that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say, as far as an action movie goes, because I think that's what this is. I think maybe it tries to pose to be other things.
But it's not.
And it's not. Right. Yeah. So I'm going to say, just as far as the action and everything, I'm going to give it a see it. Because I think there's some stuff that's cool to see in the theaters.
Okay. All right, so rent it, see it. Anything else you got to comment on this?
No, let's do another one. Let's do another one and get it right.
That would be nice to get some, just a better little thing. I wouldn't mind them continuing on with doing Bourne Legacy type stuff. I would love to see that. That'd be interesting. And just have Matt Damon show up as a cameo.
Nice.
He's at a coffee shop.
They don't really ever. Nice. He's just there. They bump into each other and have a stare down at the airport. Like Jackie Chan and Tony Jaa.
And Tony Jaa, yep.
And he's just like, oh, whoa. And then Jackie Chan they both walk away. It's like, damn it, it's almost so close to seeing a fight between these two guys.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They don't even say sorry or anything. They just like stare each other down and keep on moving.
All right, I guess we'll sign out then. So if anybody wants to contact us, we always have our home on the web, halfpasspodcast.com.
Like us on Facebook.
Rate us on iTunes, and we're on Google Play.
We're on Stitcher and Libsyn.
Email us at halfpastcast@gmail.com. That's halfpastcast@gmail.com.
Tweet us at halfpastpodcast.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. I do not have what we have next week, but I know what it is. I don't have it written down, but I know what it is.
We know what's coming.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad's coming up next
Squad.
Week. We're going to have Mr. Levy. Mark Levy is going to guest star again, and he's the DC expert. So it'll be fun to see his take on it. And the only thing I know about Suicide Squad is the direct-to-DVD DC animated version of it, which is actually pretty good. If everybody wants to watch that one, it's the super fun animated movie for DC. So like that was just great to watch. So worst case scenario, if Suicide Squad's bad, just go get that one, and that one's good.
Nice.
So that'll be fun to watch. Anything else?
We have everyone's favorite Ginger. So,
oh, now everybody knows he's a redhead.
Well, they can just tell that from his voice.
Oh, wow. What?
It's like how everyone knows you're black from your voice.
That's just not even true.
I know that's not true. Which one's the black one?
That's fantastic. Oh, man. This is the Half Past Podcast. I'm Graham Ricks.
Jonesy.
See you next flick.
Oh.